Hey guys, welcome back. This week has been a nice relaxing week after getting the whole garden planted. It's also been a warm one. We've had a handful of days in the 90s. We've been getting on and off rain. So I feel like everything in the garden is really starting to go crazy. I have almost every little thing I direct seeded last week popping up. And also yesterday I noticed that we are getting the first scapes on the garlic, which honestly I can't believe. Even though that this is the week they typically start appearing, I can't believe it's already this week in May. This whole spring, honestly, to me, has felt so calm and relaxed compared to the other 5 years I've gardened. So this is year 6 for my garden. And I've just been reflecting on this a lot lately because I literally started gardening at a time where I had pretty much no hope, no direction, no anything. And to see where I am currently now, 6 years later, feeling so confident in gardening really just blows my mind, to be completely honest. So if you are new here or if you haven't heard this story, let me kind of rewind a little bit. So I am currently 30, and back when I was like 23 going on 24, I was really kind of going through it in life. I hit probably one of the lowest points I have hit in my personal life. I lost my career and I lost one of my biggest hobbies all at the same time, or roughly all around the same time. So I was a cosmetologist in my early 20s, and I was also a competitive bikini bodybuilder. And I ended up having a lot of issues when it came to my career doing cosmetology. I actually became severely allergic to hair color, and I had to quit that career. And then roughly like 6 to 8 months later was when I also quit doing any type of competitive bodybuilding or even going to the gym. I did this for about 5 years for the both of them, and I ended up stopping both of them roughly around the same time because of a lot of health issues I was having, and it ended up causing me to not know what I wanted to do in life. I was really going through a mid-20s life crisis. I didn't have a career, I didn't have any hobbies. I was very lost, and I didn't really have any type of sense of direction. So while I was going through this period of my life, I was so desperate to figure out what I could potentially do next or want to do next. And there was a day I was sitting and I just had this piece of paper in front of me, and I just wanted to write down things I enjoyed as a kid before the world really influenced me. And 3 things I wrote on this list was art, being outside, and cooking. Those were the 3 things that came to mind that I loved doing as a kid, that without the influence of the world were the things I was drawn to. So I took that list and I was like, all right, well, what could I possibly do with this? And at the same time of going through all of this personal stuff in my life, I was also going through a lot of just lifestyle changes when it came to food and learning how the food industry works, agriculture, farming, you name it. And it really made me sad to know exactly how our food systems worked. So I got this hunch that maybe I should start a garden, and maybe that will be the thing for me. I really wanted something that would take me away from the gym because I quit my gym membership. I didn't want to do anything with the gym at that time. That's how over bodybuilding and competitive lifting I was. I didn't want to even step foot into a gym. So I really wanted to find a hobby that would make me go outside, because I never spent time outside. I would probably spend time outside walking to my car, and that was about it. So I was really looking for a complete 360 lifestyle change, and that's when I was like, all right, maybe I should start a garden. But even then, the year I started a garden, which was 2018, I was very hesitant to start that garden. It was one of those things where I already put so much time and effort into these other things I cultivated in my life that it really scared me to even think about pursuing anything different. So if it wasn't for my husband, he actually was the one that really got the gears rolling with starting a garden. I think it was toward the end of March, beginning of April, maybe even beginning of May, before we even got a garden bed put out. I know I didn't start seeds that year until about like end of March or so. It was one of those things where we needed to get it done, and it was that week or it wasn't going to happen. And my husband very much pushed me to get started, to get into it. So by the time we had the one garden bed and I had stuff planted, it made things a lot easier. But I still was not into that habit of going outside every day, which I think was the hardest habit for me to break in those first few years of gardening, since I wasn't used to being outside every day. That first summer was very, very hard. I definitely quit by August, sometime in August. I did that for year 2 as well. I didn't have systems. It got very overwhelming, and I honestly didn't know if I wanted to stick with it. But every single year I was like, well, I have it, I might as well do it. I already spent the money getting the soil, the garden beds, all of that. And I just kept expanding every year too, because I also realized how much you really couldn't grow in a single 8x4 garden bed at that time. So I just kept up with it when I really wasn't sure if it was something I truly enjoyed or not. But then it got to year 3, and year 3 things started to click a little bit, where I was like, all right, this isn't too bad. I already was in the habit of being outside every day, which I think was the biggest factor in making my 3rd year successful. I really tell people, if you don't enjoy being outside, it's going to be really hard for you to stick with gardening, especially during that like peak summer when everything is starting to die and things get really hard. But I knew for me, whenever I was outside and I was taking steps away from being inside, I really felt a sense of calm and just relaxation that I didn't really feel otherwise. So I just continued to stick with gardening, and it ended up turning into this whole lifestyle where I have chickens, all of this in my backyard, and I have done all of this from this backyard. So it's really cool to see how much I've grown and changed this yard. I really wish I had more like footage and things to remind me of those beginning years, but I didn't even start really capturing the garden until year 3. The first few years I was kind of just doing it under the radar. I really just was trying to figure out again what was going to make me happy, and also be successful in those goals that I really wanted to have. I wanted to be outside, I wanted to cook, I wanted to create art. And gardening was one of those things that really showed me full circle how that could be done. I highly enjoy cooking, and having a garden has made me open up my eyes to cooking even that much further. I have grown and ate stuff I've never done in the past. I experiment with things all the time. And if you're someone that loves to eat and cook food, I definitely suggest maybe starting a garden, because the flavors you get out of the garden versus what you can get at the store is probably honestly the reason why I've stuck with it so long, and I will continue to stick with it for life. Because once you get to just try something that you've grown out of your garden, you will realize like there's so much more to it than just growing food. There is a whole therapy session out of it. You get the best food you've ever tasted in your entire life. You get a sense of calm, a sense of accomplishment. You literally work out every single day that you are in your garden, to where I have not touched a gym in over 6 years. I quit competitive bodybuilding, 6.5 years ago now, almost 7 years ago now, which honestly I can't believe. So for the last 3 years, I really doubled this space every single year up until this year. I can no longer add anything to this current space. So this year, year 6, is what I'm trying to do really with this year, is dial in the things I may not have learned so much yet. I'm learning a lot more about soil health this year. I'm learning more about feeding different plants. I'm learning more about my chickens and just keeping chickens. Honestly, keeping chickens was really easy in the first year, but now that we are in our 2nd year, I noticed that there are certain things that are definitely popping up that I was not really prepared for, but we're getting them figured out. A lot of this lifestyle of gardening, homesteading, all of that, there's a lot of learning as you go. At least there has been for me, because I didn't grow up with this lifestyle at all. I had zero sense that this was going to be in my future at all. If you would have told 23-year-old Bree what she's currently doing, I would have not believed you. I've actually ran into friends' parents from high school, and they've literally told me that they never expected, out of all people, for me to do something like this. But it's one of those things that you honestly just never know what could potentially change your life. This has completely changed my life, and it has changed my life forever. And I kind of just wanted to sit down today and tell you this story, because I don't think I really have. I have one video on my channel called Immerse Yourself Before You're Ready. And it's all about just literally putting everything you have into something before you really truly feel ready for it, because I don't think I have felt ready for gardening and homesteading until year 6. We are on year 6 and I finally am starting to feel comfortable. And it was just one of those things where this spring I was really reflecting on how much I have learned and gone through over the last 6 years to get me to this final point right now where I feel comfortable this year, which I know I won't always feel comfortable in the future, especially when we do eventually move properties. It'll probably be stressful trying to reestablish, build, and design a whole other garden, but I have so many things in my pockets where it really allows me to just whip it out and figure out what I need to do next. Either way, I kind of just wanted to have this little heart-to-heart with you guys because I know there's not too much of these on my channel, and I've had so many of you guys just reach out to me lately and follow me and all of that. So I just wanted to kind of give you that little perspective on this week while I've just been really reflecting on this spring and how far I have came. But either way, guys, that's going to conclude it for today. I will see you all in the next one. Bye.